Before Run DMC sold millions, before Grandmaster Flash became a household name, the true architects of hip-hop were cutting records so underground, they made 1980s punk rock look like pop music. 15 forgotten gems that shaped everything you hear today, but you've probably never heard any of them. These are the tracks that defined the sound while the world wasn't listening. Number 1. King of the Beats, Grandmaster Flash and Melle Mel with Scorpio, 1981.
Push me, call, close to the edge.
This track never touched the Billboard Hot 100, never even got close. But in underground hip-hop circles, this was the blueprint for everything that came next. Emotional, Grandmaster Flash didn't just play records, he orchestrated them. This cut showed the world that a DJ could be the star. The MC was just the voice. Matter of fact, Melle Mel and Scorpio handled the rhymes, but Flash controlled the sonic architecture. Limited pressing. Sugar Hill Studios in Inglewood, New Jersey, recorded on analog tape with live instrumentation and breakdancers in the studio. That's right, they had dancers there while recording. Today's producers study this track to understand how to build a record from the ground up. The Hercules of rap, LUV Bug Starsky, 1982. This MC was obsessed with DJ Hollywood. The song is basically a love letter to the DJ tradition. Before hip-hop artists rapped about money and cars, they rapped about turntables and breaks. LUV Bug Starsky was a club DJ before he ever stepped into a recording studio. His reputation in the Bronx scene was legendary, but his recording career never quite happened. This track pioneered something that would dominate underground hip-hop for the next decade, the DJ worship record. Every major artist would eventually make one, but LUV Bug Starsky did it first, on a tiny independent label, Limited Pressing. Most people have never heard it. Even hip-hop historians often miss this one. Now here's where things get interesting. Afrika Bambatea's theme, H-Free-Ka Bambatea and the Soul Sonic Force, 1982. Important. The exact same year, Bambatea released Planet Rock, which became a massive hit. But this other track, this one disappeared completely, buried under its own bigger sibling. Planet Rock gets all the attention. This track gets forgotten. Yet both tracks show the same innovation, electronic synthesis, early TR-808 drum machine, breaking down the wall between funk and rap. Arthur Baker produced both, but this particular version never got the promotion. Limited underground circulation. Breakdancers loved it. The mainstream never knew it existed. Leaning in, it's yours. T-Lay Rock and Jazzy J, 1982.
Which only occurs when the party is packed, so full of endurance.
This track matters for one specific reason. It was independent hip-hop when independent hip-hop didn't exist yet. The industry was consolidating. Major labels were buying up hip-hop talent. But these two MCs said no. They recorded it themselves, released it on a tiny independent label, Limited Pressing, probably under 25,000 copies made. Jazzy J handled production and mixing. This was DIY hip-hop before DIY became cool, before it was a marketing strategy. Today's independent hip-hop artists trace their lineage directly back to this record, not because it was famous, but because it proved you didn't need a major label to make hip-hop. Rip it up and start again. The Funky 4 + 1 More, 1980. Matter of fact, we're going back now. This is from before the hip-hop industry even knew hip-hop was an industry, before it was a commodity. The Funky 4 + 1 More were one of the first organized hip-hop groups, not a loose collective, an actual group with members, arrangement, structure. Bobby Robinson at Enjoy Records produced it, same label that would help pioneer hip-hop recording. But this track disappeared, moved. Why? Because the timing was wrong. Hip-hop wasn't ready for group dynamics yet. The industry wanted solo stars. This record proved the power of collective performance, but nobody was listening for it yet. Computer World, the Zulu Nation Collective, 1983.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now.
This is where documentation gets fuzzy. The Zulu Nation Afrika Bambatas movement released this track as a collective project. Who specifically produced it? Who performed? Records don't say. But what matters is the concept. A collective exploring electronic synthesis and futuristic hip-hop sound. Years before anyone was talking about electro-rap as a movement, this track was reportedly exploring techno-rap fusion, synthesizer experimentation, drum machine innovation. It existed primarily as a community release, limited underground circulation. The Zulu Nation distributed it internally to members and close followers. Moved. Today, electronic music historians recognize this as an early blueprint for what would become the electro movement. But almost nobody outside specialist circles knows it exists. Now here's the story within the story. I Wonder If I Take You Home. Lisa and Cult Jam, 1985. You know Lisa and Cult Jam, right? 1986, they hit massive with All Cried Out. 1987, even bigger. But this track? This is before all that. Full Force Productions helped develop this early sound, New Jack Swing fusion, hip-hop meeting R&B in ways that hadn't been explored yet. This recording shows an artist before stardom, before the world knew her name, before radio was spinning her records constantly. What you're hearing is pure artistic development. No compromise, no calculation, just talented musicians exploring sound. Then the world caught on. Lisa became mainstream. This underground precursor got buried under her massive success, lost in the shadow of her own bigger hits. B-Boy Strut, Nuclear D, 1984. Nucleus made Jam on It in 1983. That one blew up. Underground hit. But this other track, same year practically, same artist, completely different fate. B-Boy Strut was pure electro-funk. Electronic drums, synthesizers, but instead of getting promotion, it disappeared into underground circulation. Breakdancers knew it, club DJs played it. The mainstream completely missed it. Building the track pioneered electro-rap production techniques that shaped the entire underground sound aesthetic, but because it wasn't the single everyone knows, it got forgotten. Overshadowed by the group's own bigger hit, Godfather of Rap, Kool Herc and MC Calhoun, 1986.
Particular break, and I have a couple more records got the same breakup in it.
Kool Herc was arguably the single most important figure in hip-hop history. Pioneer DJ, inventor of the break, changed music forever. But here was a DJ, not an MC. He didn't want to be on records rapping. And then this track appeared, a rare recorded vocal collaboration, a tribute, an acknowledgement of his role. MC Calhoun provided the rhymes, but it's Herc's presence that makes this significant. Moved. This is one of the few times Kool Herc was documented on a hip-hop recording. Limited release, underground circulation. Most people never knew it existed, yet it's historically crucial, proof that even the legends occasionally stepped into the recording booth. Interesting Beat Street Breakdown, 1984. This is from the Beat Street soundtrack. Remember that film? Landmark 1984 hip-hop movie changed how the world saw hip-hop culture. The album went platinum, certified by the RIAA, major success. But here's the thing, the individual tracks disappeared. This particular instrumental or interlude really became invisible. Track-level recognition never happened. It was part of something bigger, part of a cultural moment. But as a standalone song, nobody talks about it. Yet it's crucial to the Beat Street legacy, part of the sonic architecture that made that film matter. It concluded. It exists in archive, in memory, in the film itself, but as a track, forgotten. Fascinating Planet Rock, Mr. Magic Remix, Afrika, Bambaataa, and the Soul Sonic Force, 1982. You know Planet Rock, right? Massive hit, historical document, changed hip-hop forever. But what most people don't know, there were multiple versions. Different mixes, different pressings. This one, the Mr. Magic Remix, underground variant, limited pressing. The original Arthur Baker mix, that's the famous one. But Mr. Magic, the legendary DJ and radio personality, reportedly created his own mix. Different arrangement, different emphasis. This version circulated only in underground hip-hop circles. Record collectors know about it, historians have heard it, but mainstream music never knew it existed. It's like a ghost version of a canonical track, the same song, but slightly different. Hidden in plain sight because its own parent track was so huge. The Gigolo Raps, 1981.
Everybody, don't you know it's time to party?
This is a West Coast compilation, Gigolo Records, Los Angeles. Matter of fact, East Coast dominated hip-hop documentation in the early 1980s. Everything that mattered or seemed to matter was happening in New York, the Bronx, Brooklyn. But on the West Coast, things were happening too. Different sound, different aesthetic, different vibe. This compilation, reportedly from Gigolo Records, captured some of that West Coast energy. Moved, but because the East Coast controlled hip-hop narrative, controlled the labels, the distribution, the media, West Coast hip-hop got erased. This record is basically lost. It's not that it was bad, it's that it was invisible. Invisible, because geography meant everything in 1980s hip-hop. Building, Sugar Hill Groove, Sugar Hill Gang, 1980.
And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet.
Now listen to this. Sugar Hill Records, 1980. What's the first Sugar Hill Records hip-hop record you can think of? Right, Rapper's Delight, 1979. Changed everything. Interested. But before Rapper's Delight truly exploded into the mainstream, Sugar Hill Gang recorded Sugar Hill Groove. Same label, same year practically, different trajectory. Rapper's Delight became the song that introduced the world to hip-hop. Sugar Hill Groove, it disappeared completely, overshadowed before it even had a chance. The shadow of Rapper's Delight was so long, so massive, that it erased everything around it. Concluded Sugar Hill Groove never had a chance to be heard because its own label sibling was too successful. The Treachery of Imagery, Crash Crew, 1983. This is where things get artistic, experimental, conceptual. Crash Crew made hip-hop that wasn't trying to fit the formula, wasn't trying to be commercial, wasn't trying to be anything except artistic exploration. The title itself, The Treachery of Imagery, suggests something deeper, visual art reference, philosophical concept, hip-hop as intellectual pursuit. This track was so experimental, so ahead of its time, that the underground didn't even know what to do with it. Too weird, too different, too intellectual. But today, hip-hop historians recognize this as foundational to later alternative hip-hop movements. Crash Crew was doing in 1983 what wouldn't become trendy until the 1990s. Moved complete underground obscurity, but genuine artistic innovation. And finally, Spare the Rod, Spoil the Child. Warp 9, 1983. This is the deepest cut, the one that slipped through every category. Too funky for hip-hop purists, too rap-forward for funk traditionalists. Warp 9 blended funk, electro, hip-hop, and R&B into something that didn't fit any box. Electro-funk fusion with rap elements, early predecessor to P-Funk revival movements of the 1990s. But because it refused categorization, it got completely forgotten, dropped into the cracks between genres. Moved Lottie Golden and Carlos Alomar created something genuinely genre-blending, ahead of its time, incomprehensible to the market. Concluded, this track represents everything we've been talking about: innovation, artistry, obscurity. A record so good, so weird, so ahead of its time that nobody knew what to do with it. And that's exactly why we're talking about it now. 15 tracks, 1980 to 1986. Different artists, different styles, different cities. One common thread: they shaped hip-hop sound design while the world wasn't listening. These weren't failures, they weren't bad records, they were invisible records. Records that influenced production, influenced artistic direction, influenced the entire sound of hip-hop, but remained unknown even to hip-hop fans. Some got buried under their own bigger hits, some were ahead of their time, some were too experimental, some existed in communities that the mainstream never knew about, some were remixes and variants that disappeared, some existed on film soundtracks nobody connected to the music, but all of them matter, all of them shaped what came next. That's what underground means. Not bad, just invisible. Direct engaged. If you're hearing about these tracks for the first time, you're not alone. That's exactly the point. Hip-hop history isn't just what charted. It's not just what everyone knows. It's these invisible tracks too, the ones that shape the sound nobody's heard of. Drop a comment below. Which one of these 15 surprised you most? Which one are you going to search for right now? And subscribe to Hip Hop Legends Archives. We dig deeper than the hits, we find the forgotten, we bring back the invisible. Because hip-hop's real history lives in these moments, these tracks, these artists, these stories. Finish strong. Thanks for listening. Stay legendary.